Welcome to episode number 3 of the Legal Vixen podcast. I'm trial attorney Karen Kenny, and today we have a very special guest, my husband of 26 years, retired Fireman Rob. Hi, Rob.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm good. Tip top.
I just disclosed that you're retired from the fire department. Can you tell everybody where you retired from?
I retired from Orange County Fire Authority.
And how many years total were you a fireman?
Total about 32.
32 years.
Yeah.
32 long years.
It went by quick. Now, looking back, it went by pretty fast.
What did you like about being a fireman, and what did you dislike?
Really, there's nothing that I disliked. I would say I kind of got burned out towards the end and
Grumpy?
a little grumpy, a little angry. It was time to retire, but it was a great career. Loved helping people, loved serving the community, loved the lifestyle, the camaraderie. People often ask, hey, what's it like to be a fireman? I'm like, hey, did you ever go to camp when you were a kid? And so that was really what your shift was like when you'd go to work. You'd be with the guys and doing guy stuff and guy jokes and, the whole thing that goes with it, the gallows humor, the camaraderie, the brotherhood. So, yeah, I enjoyed it.
And how many different departments did you work for during that 32 years?
So I actually started off, back in those days, the common thing to do was put yourself through a fire academy. So a lot of the community colleges, there's a few of them around here that have academies. So I took all my fire science classes at Santa Ana College.
What year was that?
That was, well, let's see, I went to the academy in 85. So
Wow.
it was before then. There was a little bit of a waiting list to go through Santa Ana's academy. I checked into Rio Hondo. A spot was open, so I got in there. Graduated from Rio Hondo in December of 85, and then got hired. McDonnell Douglas actually had its own fire department, so that was the first place I worked for about a year before I got hired in Palm Springs. So I started McDonnell Douglas. Got hired in Palm Springs, was out there for a few years.
That must have been fun, Palm Springs.
Yeah, it was it was a lot of fun. It was hot summers, but again, back then the department is much different than it is today. 2-man engines. It was busy, got a lot of fire. I didn't realize that department was as busy as it was while I was working there until I went to other places. And in that time, I had taken a lateral test for the city of Westminster. They were going to add a truck company. That got held up, and in the meantime, I got hired by the city of El Segundo. Oh. So I was in the city of El Segundo for 6 months. Westminster got a hold of me and said, hey, we've been looking for you. They had moved apartments, So
that's before cell phones.
Well, yeah. And so I had to make a decision real quick. And I decided to go ahead and go to Westminster. I had all my friends that were working in what they call the Central Net, Fountain Valley, Huntington Beach, Westminster. So made the transition and was there almost 5 years. And then there was a big political upheaval within the city, and they decided to get rid of their fire department and contract with the county. And that's how I ended up with the Orange County Fire Authority. Spent the rest of my career there.
Got it. So how many years were with Orange County?
That was from 95 till I retired in 2018. So
wow,
it was, I think, June or July of 95 we transitioned, July 95 to March of 2018.
Out of all the places that you've worked, what was your favorite location?
Yeah, that's kind of a loaded question. So, the few years I was in Palm Springs, I made some really close friends. A couple that I'm still close with to this day. It was a fun place to work, especially when I first started there. I was single, and spring break was still a thing, and so it was a little crazy. I joke with the guys from Westminster because when I left to go to Westminster, I said, hey, I just want to know we'll never go to the county. And 5 years later, we were with the county. But I wouldn't trade that for the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super, super close with a lot of guys from Westminster. And then the fire authority, in my opinion, just got better and better as time went on. They absorbed a few departments. Santa Ana came across. And then right after I retired, they got Garden Grove. So it's a big department now. It was big then. It's a bigger department now. And so there's good and bad about all of them, working in a small department, working in a big department.
Since you worked for so many years, I'm assuming you had calls where you're going out and you're coming upon a crime scene or, the police are there. There's these horrible calls that you're going on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of the calls that you were let me rephrase that. What percentage of your calls would you say you were actually dispatched and then having to deal with the police on scene as well?
I don't know. A rough guesstimation would be maybe like 20%, 25%, sometimes higher. In Palm Springs, I was spent a year at Station 3 up in the north end. There's neighborhoods up there that we didn't go into after dark without the police.
Oh, wow.
Just really rough neighborhoods.
Mm-hmm.
Westminster, when I first started there was still, the Asian gangs were still active. And we'd have a lot of home invasion robberies. So we'd get there and the cops would be there already.
Like people were murdered?
Yeah, I mean, there were times when you would go in and it would just be a full-on hit. But a lot of times, back in those days, Bolsa Avenue, all the jewelry shops were scattered all up and down Bolsa. Now the Asian Garden Mall has a big jewelry mart upstairs. Mm-hmm. So most of them have gone up there. But, for many years, just in the Vietnamese culture, they didn't trust institutions. They didn't trust the police. They didn't trust banks. Right. So a lot of the shop owners would have large amounts of cash in their home.
Of course, their community knew that.
Their community knew that, and they would prey on their own, and then you'd get these, the Asian gangs, the Vietnamese gangs that would do a home invasion. And so, we'd get there and the cops would always get in there before us, but these people were usually tied up or bound somehow and the house ransacked. So. Wow.
Out of the calls and I know you had different types of calls, not just like home invasions when you're dealing with the police. Were you ever afraid when you went into a situation that was like criminal activity and maybe there was somebody that had a gun? I mean, did you ever get concerned because firemen aren't armed?
No. I mean, it's always in the back of your head, but the way that we're dispatched and the way that the dispatchers are trained, many times we'll get a call and they'll say stage away.
Oh,
so okay. We'll be sitting in the fire engine 2-3 blocks away, and we're waiting for the police to come and clear the scene, make sure the scene is safe. Mm-hmm. And just like on any medical aid or fire, scene safety is a big thing. So it wasn't overwhelming. Once in a while, I when Santa Ana came across to the fire authority, I worked a lot of overtime in Santa Ana just because I like to stay close to my station and home. You go into gang areas and as the engineer, a lot of times the captain will look at me and say, "Hey, just stay at the engine."
Oh, you just got to drive and run all those red lights and
then you got the crowd kind of gathering around and you get a little nervous, you got to kind of have your head on a swivel. And that's really true with anywhere that you work. But yeah, Santa Ana, it's heavy gang activity. We'd run into Garden Grove a lot. Same thing, you just kind of got to be careful.
And then I'm assuming some of the calls you would go on would probably deal with homeless people?
Yeah, a big majority.
Did you ever witness, like, if the cops were there and you guys are there, did you ever witness the cops, like, not treating these people very nicely?
For the most part, that wasn't an issue. I spent 19 and a half out of my 32 years in Little Saigon. Mm-hmm. So, I can think of one cop in particular.
Don't say his name.
No, I'm not gonna. He would. He was a little shorter in stature.
Oh, okay.
I think he had a little bit to make up for it. I witnessed him kick and punch homeless guys.
Did you say anything?
It always bothered me.
I would have said.
I would make comments at him in front of other cops.
Oh,
I think peer pressure. I wasn't going to be the guy that's like, hey, this guy's.
What'd you say to him?
But the reality is too. I'd see young firemen use their foot to wake someone up. And that always bothered me.
Oh.
There were a couple of my mentors from Westminster that were just good, godly Christian men. They would really instill in me, hey, that's somebody's family. Treat them like that. So I tried to always have that attitude. There were times when it got tough. We had one homeless guy. He was a vet. He got his check every week, and he would pass out on the street. We'd end up going out on him 4 or 5 times a day because people are driving up Brookers. They see him out in the bushes or see feet sticking out of the bushes. And, the Westminster cops actually got a hold of his family, sent him out to Vegas twice, but he'd make his way back. And it was just the life he wanted to live.
Yeah.
And finally, I wasn't on duty that day, but they got called out there and he had passed. But,
that's
there's
sad.
with homeless, there's almost always a mental illness going on.
Yeah.
It's what it is. But for the most part, I was lucky in that most of the cops,
So that was not the norm.
It wasn't the norm. You did see it.
Hear.
It did happen.
Mm-hmm.
We did get called out to people that they just got their ass kicked by the cops, but we weren't there to witness it.
Right.
It was after the fact.
Right.
So, it kind of just went with the job.
On all the calls, I'm sure this has happened because you did this for so many years. Did you guys ever go to the wrong house on a call?
Yeah, I mean, back in the old days.
Like what year? Let's put this in perspective.
Probably half of my career. We get dispatched, or at least the first quarter of my career, and you'd be writing down an address.
Physically. Oh, that's right, because it's before.
Address. Then when things became more, CAD-oriented, computer-based, then we'd get a printout. But we'd still be pulling maps and looking at maps. Nowadays, every engine, every truck company, every medic unit has a computer, and it literally it's like Google Maps or Waze. It will route you in, so it doesn't happen as often.
But wait, go back to when you had to write.
Yeah, you have to write.
Wait, does somebody call, dispatch calls the fire station, hey, you guys got a call, and somebody's literally writing on a piece of paper?
The alarm would go off.
Okay.
And specifically, this is back to early Palm Springs days.
80s?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You'd run to the dispatch office, and they'd give you a minute. Then they would announce the call, and they would, give you an address. You'd be writing it down. Then you'd go pull a map because you get a district and a box number.
Thomas maps.
And, back in those days, every engine, every truck had a Thomas guide.
That's so funny. I used to use it. We're dating ourselves.
Yeah. But they're even early Westminster days. You'd pull a map, and every half-mile district, every half-mile square would be a district, and then that district would be divided up into 100 boxes. So you kind of had a good idea where to look on the map and where you're going.
Okay, so.
But I will say, I spent a little time in Seal Beach, and we had an overtime captain with us on this particular call.
Oh, no.
And we went to the right address on the wrong street. And it was in the middle of the day. The front door was unlocked. We're walking through this house, announcing, hey, fire department, fire department. And you could hear a kid, like a high school kid, in the bathroom with water sloshing. So he was obviously taking a bath in the middle of the day. Make what you will of it.
Yeah.
And totally freaked out. You hear his high-pitched voice go, what?
He was by himself?
And we're like, hey, did you call the fire department? Did you need the paramedics? Yeah, he was by himself in his house, taking a bath in the middle of the day. And,
how old was he, high school?
Yeah, a high school kid. And And the captain says, hey, we got a call here. And he says, no, I didn't call. And he says, is this, such and such Oak Street? And the kid goes, no, you got the right number, but this is Elm Street. And as this is going on, we hear the medic unit that was, the next station over.
Oh, no, it was
a street over. So this particular captain went to the wrong house on the wrong street and interrupted this poor kid's nice hot bath.
I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah, don't.
If you remember, what is the funniest call you've ever been on?
Oh, golly.
I'm sure there's probably a lot of them.
You remember the dreams and all that are usually the bad ones, and those are the ones that you want to get out of your head. And I can remember when I first hired on, somebody told me, dude, make a journal, write this stuff down. And I thought, that's kind of weird, but
now you wish you would have.
Now I just Matt Schlurf's son is now off probation in Long Beach Fire Department. I told Matt, I go, tell your boy to write a journal because this stuff, you'll forget this stuff. Mm-hmm. And then when I get together with the guys, I'll go, remember this, remember that? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't know. My memory's not what it was, but
I remember one that you told me about.
What's that?
Where you made that guy crash
Okay, well,
his
that
car.
was one. There's two of them that come to mind. So we're coming back from the market. It's middle of the day. We're driving up the street, and
this is in Little Westminster.
Yeah, in Westminster, Little Saigon, going up Bouchard, and it's through a residential area. But this particular tract has homes that face, it'd be McFadden, without garages off the front. There's actually an alley.
Oh, okay.
So we're going up Bouchard, and then there's an alley where the garages are, and then these houses that face the front of the next street. And I'm a half mile back, and I see this guy stopping, and they swerves to the right.
And your siren's on?
To the left, huh?
Your siren's on?
No, we're coming back from the market.
Oh,
we're coming back.
Oh, okay.
We're coming back to with groceries to make lunch.
Right.
And he pulls over to the right again. Then he stops in the middle, and I'm getting closer and closer and closer. Now he's there's two lanes in each direction. Now he's just stopped dead, and I'm up behind him at a dead stop. We're right where the alley is, so the intersection's right there. The light's green. So I just give him a little toot on the air horn.
Sure, it was little.
And no, it was. Honest to God, it was just a little. And so he slowly starts making a left like he's going to turn into the alley. And as I pass him out of the corner of my eye, I can kind of see his car accelerate. And the next thing you know, we hear this boom, crash. And I kind of turned back, and he'd gotten halfway through his turn, floored it, went up a retaining wall and into someone's backyard.
So there's your new call.
So, the captain, it was Doug Brickell, working overtime, looks over at me and goes, did that guy just crash? And I go, yeah. I go, I think we better turn around. He's like, yeah, you better turn around. So he calls into dispatch, hey, we're on a TC. We turn around, and I'm sitting there, and it's a medic engine. So he's one of the medics, and then Steve Florin was the other medic. And they jump off. They're going to go up and check on him. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I didn't really do anything wrong. I was just trying to get this guy out of the way.
Move out of the way.
And so I get out of the engine, and I walk up. I'm feeling pretty bad. And all I hear him say is, he honk, I go crash, boom, boom, and I turn around, get back on the engine, I sit there.
Oh, no.
The battalion chief got called out. Rob, what happened? I explained everything. It was not a big deal.
Did you get in trouble?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's good. I think you would have told me if you got in trouble.
No. The other one is a friend of ours, or a friend of mine, Paul Gilbrick, who is he was our union president. This is back when we were in Westminster before we transitioned to the county. The way Westminster worked with the surrounding departments, it was part of what they call the central net. So there was an automatic aid agreement between all those departments, Fountain Valley, Westminster, Huntington Beach, Newport Beach. Santa Ana later came in, where we basically operated like one big department. We were
like if their resources are
we had first due areas from our station that were in the city of Huntington Beach.
Okay.
And so back at this time, there was a truck, an engine, and a medic van out of what used to be 66, but it used to be Westminster Station 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a really cold, super foggy night. You couldn't see 100 feet in front of you.
Mm.
And we get dispatched into a smoke check in Huntington Beach, in the city of Huntington Beach.
A
it was
smoke check? Oh, like somebody's reporting to
someone's
smoke.
reporting a smell of smoke. Well, these are older houses. They all had wood-burning fireplaces. It was foggy. You couldn't see anything.
Oh, no.
And I was with Ron Roberts.
I don't think you ever told me this story.
Yeah, so I'm on the truck with Ron Roberts, and we drive up and down this neighborhood, every street, and all you can smell is smoke because everybody's burning fires in the fireplace. But we don't see anything. We get back to the station, and not more than 35, 40 minutes later, the whole station gets pinged out on a working structure fire.
Oh.
And so Paul Gilbrook was on the engine, and mind you, he was our union president. He's a third generation Boston Irish fireman. His dad was a Boston fireman. His uncles were Boston firemen. His grandfather was a Boston fireman. Paul is a character in his own right.
So what did he do?
Anyways, we get there, we work the fire, and we're cleaning up, and there's a lady out in the street. He's saying, damn it, I called the fire department an hour ago, and they came out, and they couldn't see that this house was on fire, and this is just incompetence. And without missing a beat, Paul looks at her, ma'am, we're from the Westminster Fire Department. He goes, we just come into Huntington Beach and put the fires out for them. Thank God for you guys. And I'm looking at Ron Roberts. Ron Roberts is looking at me. I'm like, let's just get on the truck and get out of here.
That's so funny. Out of all of the calls that you've ever been on, have you ever had to testify?
I got deposition one time.
That's testifying.
Yeah. It was for a accident that actually took place in La Mirada. I had just promoted to engineer. I was working at a firehouse in North Winter Park, 62s. Mm-hmm. We got called to an accident with a car on fire, and it ended up there were two people in it that had burned up. So this family was suing Chrysler. It was a Jeep.
Oh, so they were
so I got depoted in
They were probably nice to you because you weren't, for one side or the other. I'm assuming the attorneys were nice to you.
I spent, it was, in and out. I was there probably no more than an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's pretty fast.
It was one of those things. As an engineer, I didn't have to deal with depositions much. The medics do relatively regularly. A lot of times the captains will.
So cops, I think, probably testify way more than firemen do, obviously. But I want to hit on a subject because before we met and got married, because I was a public defender early on in our marriage, you were very pro-prosecution. When I was a baby public defender. Do you remember all of our discussions?
Oh, yeah.
At some point, I think you started to move more towards the middle.
Probably after I saw you in court a couple times and absolutely destroy cops. And
I appreciate that.
And then I witnessed things. It took a while. I played devil's advocate with you for a long time. And you didn't like it.
No, but I think you started to see when I'd be like, look at this, look what he did, look at this. And you're like, oh. Yeah. And you realize not all cops are bad. There's bad in every profession. But I think having been married to a public defender, you started to see some of the ones that were questionable.
Yeah. My best friend since the fourth grade, Danny, who retired as a captain from LASO, and he was a captain at
LA County Sheriffs.
Yeah, LA County Sheriffs. I think he said it best. He liked good defense attorneys because they force his cops to write better reports. Yeah. And I remember him explaining to me, because we were having a conversation about this, and he said, guys get lazy and they'll fudge the reports.
Mm-hmm.
Then a defense attorney figures that out
Mm-hmm.
and shows them to be a liar, and it just ruins all their credibility.
Yeah.
So yeah, I witnessed you. I would go and watch you in action every once in a while.
Do your best impression of me. I mean, you saw my murder trial when I was a public defender, and then you also saw when I did that Mexican mafia trial, and I represented one of the
Best impression
girlfriends.
of you in trial?
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. It would be like,
Uh-oh, do I want to see this?
Your Honor, I object. Speculation. And the judge would say, overruled. And you would be,
Oh, you just called me out on eye rolling.
and then the judge would say, Miss Kinney, did you just roll your eyes at me? And then you'd be like this. The judge is over there. No, Your Honor.
That's not true. You
That may be slightly exaggerated, but I've seen it.
Well, you've actually seen me with a jury, because I wouldn't do that in front of a jury.
Oh, I've seen you get yelled at, too.
Yeah, I did get yelled at. I got yelled at a lot.
Yeah.
Once in a while, I still get yelled at. I'm just very zealous in my representation.
And that's what I tell people.
Yeah.
You want a fighter, hire my wife.
On a serious note, first responders unfortunately have to deal with seeing so much stuff that people shouldn't have to witness. You know what I mean? You see these things, you come up on these scenes, they're horrific, and then it's just etched in your head. And I'm assuming most first responders that have been in their careers a long time don't retire without being messed up in the head. Do you think, in terms of like the fire department, because you were never a cop, do you think the fire departments help their guys as much as they should with like processing and like mental health counseling?
It's gotten better over the years. They've been kind of have their back pushed in a corner.
Aren't suicides?
The last few years, more firemen have taken their life than actually died in the line of duty.
Oh, wow.
And then, at the end of my career, you saw my anger and the way the PTSD affected me. And then, I was in therapy for over a year. So, yeah, it's tough. But there's different ways guys deal with it. Some guys deal with it a lot better than others. Self-medication is a big thing, the alcohol, the drugs, prescription drugs. Gallows humor, I think for years, and the honest to God, the problems of the world were solved at the firehouse kitchen table.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the therapy for many, many years. Departments now are getting better. They have peer counselors.
Oh, okay.
Usually there's after a real traumatic incident, there's a debriefing. And it's like I said, everybody kind of handles it different. Some guys are more open to it. Some guys are a little more stubborn.
Don't you think it should be required, or I guess you can't?
Well,
really,
I'll tell you
really
what.
force somebody.
No one comes out of working in an emergency room. No one comes out of the fire service. No cop comes out of his career unscathed in the head. Everybody has damage in the head, no matter what you say. So it's just a matter of for me, a lot of it's looking to my higher power and my spirituality and getting help. And
if you could change anything about the way departments like handle that, is there anything that you would change or suggest?
I think for the most part they're headed in the right direction. The IFF, which is the national level of our union, has a wellness center now for mental health. the CPF down to the local level, which is the California Professional Firefighters, the union is way more involved. Departments are way more cognizant of what's going on. Just looking back in my career, again, I don't want to get emotional, but
You're an emotional guy.
I know. One of my best friends from Palm Springs took his own life. We've had a number of suicides in Orange County. So there's definitely an issue that needs to be dealt with. I think, and I've been retired, 7 years now? And I think it's gotten even better and better since then. So
it's just sad when you hear about it.
It is.
And it's like, what could have been done?
Yeah. And even you, I mean, I will say that I remember when you left the public defender's office, your time up with the white collar thing was going to come to an end. And
my assignment?
Your assignment, and you didn't want to have to go back to the felony panel and deal with some of the stuff that you have to.
I didn't want that in my head.
Deal with. One of our public defenders' friends ended up taking his own life.
Yeah. He dealt with some really bad cases too.
Yeah.
So if you, looking back at everything that you went through as a first responder, would you have still picked the same career?
Absolutely.
So you don't regret it?
No, I don't regret it at all. I don't miss it. I like sleeping at night, and what you miss is the guys.
Wait, you're not really retired, right?
Let's not go there.
I can't tell him. He's retired, but he really is still a fireman at Disneyland with all the other retired guys.
But what have I told you? It's like therapy.
Yes,
so
you love it.
90% of us are retired guys. And so there's a lot of opportunity where we're working together and hanging out. And it's like an industrial fire department. You ask me, what do? I go, I watch other people work, which is essentially what I do.
But you have fun.
But there's a huge group of LA City guys. There's probably, I think I counted, there's over 23 or 24 Orange County guys, and then guys from every other, there's like 300 guys there. So, yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, the happiest place on earth.
Yeah, I'm not a big Disney fan, but I'm enjoying the job.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all we have for today, unless you wanted to give any advice to anyone that may be looking to join the fire department that might be interested. Because I think when you first applied, there used to be like wait lists, and it was crazy and so hard to get on the fire department. And I think over the years that kind of changed.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of trending back to what it was. Economically, a lot has happened with pensions and it's definitely. I'm not even sure how to word this without offending anybody, but one of the reasons I retired when I did is I wasn't super excited about the new guys we were hiring. The work ethic was different.
No, I understand what you're saying.
The basic knowledge of tools and working with your hands was way different than when I hired on. But then again, I can remember old guys, when I hired on saying, yeah, every truck in that firehouse parking lot was or every car in the parking lot was a pickup truck, and they all had toolboxes in the back.
Because
they all had trades. They all had trades.
Yeah.
I was fortunate that my dad was a pretty handy guy, and so I learned a lot growing up. And but I do see now, and especially with the young guys that I'm working with at Disney, there is kind of that, harder time getting hired. A lot more guys are interested in it. So I think it's kind of trending back.
And what advice would you give to somebody who's interested?
And don't give up. You always hear about that one guy. Oh, it was the first test I took and he got hired.
Oh.
And that's not the norm. I can remember taking LA County's test and having an acquaintance that was a captain in LA County. and being all excited and saying, yeah, I'm in band C. And he laughed at me because I didn't even know we had a band C.
Oops.
and that's how bad I did, you know.
Aw.
But I think it was one of the very first oral interviews I went to. I didn't know what I was doing, you know.
That's so
they probably asked me why I wanted to be fireman because I want to get chicks and make money, you know.
Oh,
so probably not the
didn't
best
know that.
answer.
That's so funny.
Young. I was young.
I know. How old are you now? Just kidding.
62.
Anyways, thanks so much for coming on my podcast and supporting Legal Vixen.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks.